Happy Halloween, and we've got movies. Not a whole bunch of scary movies opening on Halloween, but we've got the newest from two of our favorite directors to talk about, and that'll be good for streaming and for the theaters. Welcome to it. This is the Screening Room Podcast.
Are either one of these any good?
Wow, this is a good movie.
It's pretty good.
Well, the director from yesterday doesn't think so.
It stinks.
He's sorry. You waste our film.
It's so bad.
Welcome to the Halloween edition of the Screening Room Podcast. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And I got a rock. I got a rock. Hope you got better. We definitely have some good movies to talk about. Starting with the latest from one of our faves, Yorgos Lanthimos.
First up in theaters, two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. The latest from Yorgos Lanthimos, Bugonia.
Yeah, we love us some Yorgos.
Yes, we do.
I mean, he's got Killing of a Sacred Deer. He did The Favorite. He did Poor Things.
The
Dog
Lobster.
Oh, The Lobster. That's probably my favorite, but I mean, that's a hard argument to have because there's so many great films.
Yes.
And if you've seen his films, you know that they're not exactly run-of-the-mill cookie cutter movies.
No, they're weird. They're weird. And in some ways, this one is less weird, and yet it takes a turn at the end that most filmmakers couldn't really make work, and he does. So yeah, Emma Stone plays CEO, pharmaceutical company CEO, and Jesse Plemons, who is absolutely magnificent in this movie, is a down on his luck, like generationally down on his luck guy, and he kidnaps her and takes her to the basement of his old farmhouse. And it's funny, I've seen probably more movies that start off that way than most people, where a woman wakes up chained and on a filthy mattress in somebody's basement. But this movie does not take any of the same pathways as those others. And that's one of the things, man, right from the first moment Emma Stone is on screen, she commands the room.
Yeah.
She's unafraid. She's unapologetic. She's calm. She's fearless. This character is fearless. It's such a fascinating performance. But honestly, Jesse Plemons is the one who I think steals this movie. He's so magnificent. This character is so complicated, and he just unveils what he needs to when he needs to. And the two of them together, it's fascinating because in a lot of ways, neither one of these people, he's a kidnapper and he's really the more sympathetic character, but then she gains your sympathy and then loses it. He gains it and then loses it. It's this ballet between these two actors. Just, I can't remember the last time that I have seen a pairing this strong.
Yeah, they're great. And you've probably seen the trailers and you've probably noticed that, Emma Stone is shaving her head.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. She really does it. One take, obviously.
Yeah.
Really shaves her head because that's how Jesse's afraid that's how that she can contact her ship is through her hair.
Yep.
Okay. And now they aren't the only two in the basement. You've also got Jesse's friend Donnie, who is a little simple. Let's put it that way. Don, played by Aidan Delvis. And he's a great sort of side. He's a third wheel in a way. I mean, he's along for the ride with Jesse's character, Teddy. I mean, Teddy is in charge.
Yes.
And Don is looking to Teddy to tell him what the aliens are up to and how are we going to go about this. And so he's along for the ride, but he becomes an important part of it later, sort of in a shocking turn.
Yeah.
One of the things I didn't see coming.
No.
This is one right away when you're looking at a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. I look to see if he wrote it as well. He didn't write this one. This is based on a movie called Save the Green Planet.
Yes,
from I think 20 years ago, a Korean film, which was a more outright comedy. This one is funny in spots.
It is, but it's a Yorgos Lanthimos comedy. It's dark, and not everybody's going to laugh.
It's one of those where, you might find yourself laughing and no one else is.
Yes.
That doesn't mean it's not funny.
No.
Because I found myself laughing to some silence a couple of times. But it's not an outright comedy. It tackles a lot of different genres at different times. It really does. You don't want to say too much for fear of spoiling. But the two main performances drive this. It's just incredible. And the direction it's not, you don't have a lot of that, the different lenses that Yorgos does a lot of fisheye stuff like that, because it really wouldn't fit as much. because it's very contained down in the basement.
Yeah.
Then you have early on, you have some Emma Stone in the boardroom. And then later in that third act, it goes somewhere else
It gets
entirely.
nutty. It gets nutty.
Yeah, it really does. But it's so adventurous. It's another one of those that is the antidote for the people that say there's nothing original out there. Yes, there is. There is. And it's in the theaters this weekend. And especially if you've seen Yorgos Lanthimos films and you like his stuff, and I'd say it's a must-see.
Yes. Because, I think the tonal shifts that he managed, he is so entirely in control of the audience with this movie, which is remarkable because it's a comedy and then it's sci-fi and then it's horror and then it's thriller and then it's comedy again. And it just does, you never feel the whiplash of it.
Right.
He just moves effortlessly. He is so in control of the audience. It's a masterpiece of direction.
Yeah, it is. And acting too.
Yeah.
These two
Lord,
both,
yes.
as like you said, the dance between the two of them. You can tell because they've worked together before, obviously.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're very comfortable
Yeah.
with each other and the way that the characters interact. Emma being so in control, typical of a CEO.
Sure, yeah.
She
A
commands
born leader. Yeah.
she commands this company, and early on, it's funny too. Some of the reforms that she makes, that she thinks she's being such a great person to allow a certain thing, but then there are some caveats to that maybe it's not so great. So that's a nice bit of character development without any undue telling.
Yes.
You can get it done in a few minutes with a great dialogue and a great actor, and she is one.
Yeah, she is.
And so you know her a little bit when she gets taken hostage. So yeah, she's not going to be the shrinking violet down there. She's going to fight for herself and assert herself. And there's a back and forth because, Jesse, Teddy, his character, just treats it like, well, of course you're an alien. There's obviously
you're not even trying to hide it.
Even trying to hide it. What are we arguing about here? Just go along for the ride, and it's mesmerizing. It is original. It takes you on turns. A couple that I did not see coming at all, and that's always a good thing.
Yep.
So, but especially if you're a Yorgos Lanthimos fan, as we are, that anything he does
we're in.
Definitely in. And this is another one where I think normally I'm probably more excited if he wrote them as well. But here's a case where he didn't. He's just adapting somebody else's work and coming through with one of the best of the year. It's so enjoyable, and it's nice because I've talked to a lot of people here in the last couple of days that are very excited to see this movie, which is great. I'm glad people are. You should be. You should be. It's so great. And it doesn't have, it's got some horror elements to it. It's not a horror movie.
Not at all,
It's not, but it's got some elements.
It absolutely does.
It's got some
and
blood.
I think that with a different director, it would have gotten too creepy. It would have become a horror movie and the type of horror movie that would turn off a lot of audiences. But it doesn't. It doesn't go there.
Yeah. So we loved it.
We loved
it. Bugonia, and that is in theaters. Now go see it.
An animated film next that follows Stitchhead, a small creature awoken by a mad professor in a castle to protect the professor's other creations from the townspeople of Grubber's Nubbin. It's Stitchhead.
I love Grubber's Nubbin. Drive through there all the time.
Overlooked by Castle Grotesque.
You need something for the kids over a holiday weekend, and here you go.
Oh,
nice animated film.
And it's adorable. It's absolutely adorable. It's it's a take on the Frankenstein story. There's a mad scientist, and he just has sort of ADHD about his creations. The minute he's got the most amazing creation ever, suddenly he's like, ooh, wait, maybe this would be. And so his first creation, or the eldest sibling, is left to care for all of these other baby monsters and help them figure out where their place is and how to stay safe. And he does Stitchhead. That's the first creation. Adorable, voiced by Asa Butterfield. Hugo. Oh my God. And what he does is tells them a story every night about how the monsters stay safe inside the castle. They never let anyone see them. And that way they can avoid the angry mob from down below. And then there are all these pictures of the pitchforks and the torches, as we know. And, but his what he really wants is the love of his father. There's so many great timeless themes
Yeah.
in this movie. And
Yeah.
so he's lured away by this, freak show, the guy who runs the freak show, because there's a real freak, here's a real monster, here's a real way to make money. And he lures him to town to be in the freak show where he'll find real love. And that's where I think the movie makes the most salient points about the difference between actual love and sort of online popularity,
Yeah.
fame for fame's sake.
Mhm.
And then, in the end, what it says, it's like, be who you would be if you weren't afraid. It's just a lot of really great themes,
Yeah.
a couple of very fun songs, some jaunty numbers, if you will, and just some adorable animation. I've so enjoyed this movie.
This is the director and co-writer is Steve Hudson. First of all, I love the nickname Stitchhead for Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Love
It's
that.
a great one.
Love that. But yeah, I mean, that's a common theme for kids' movies. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. And that's great.
It is
because
great.
some do it a lot better than others. And that's a theme and a lesson
Yeah.
that kids need to hear as they're growing up, especially with a fun, scary kind of scary in quotes.
Yeah.
Have a thing for Halloween. So
And if you like the movie, there's a whole series of books by Guy Bass, the whole Stitchhead series. So grab them up for your kids.
yeah. So it's what would you put the age about the perfect age for this? Are we talking, from 10 or something like that?
Oh, you could be younger than that.
yeah.
It's absolutely harmless, I
Mhm.
think, but it's also fun and funny, and I liked it as a grown up.
So perfect, yeah.
It's
Yes, you can
great.
take the kids,
You absolutely
take the kids
can,
or the
yeah.
grandkids.
It's not scary. It will frighten nobody. It's very funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Stitchhead. And that
Stitchhead.
is in theaters, safe for the whole family
That's right.
this Halloween.
Let's move to Netflix. When his past and his debts start to catch up with him, a high-stakes gambler laying low in Macaw encounters a kindred spirit who might just hold the key to his salvation. Ballad of a Small Player.
Macau, a region off of China, and looks a lot like Vegas. I mean, glitzy casinos everywhere. I didn't know a lot about it. But yeah, very much a gambler's haven, especially for Lord Doyle. That's his name. That's the name he goes by anyway. Lord Doyle, played by Colin Farrell. And this is based on a well-loved book from, I believe, 2014. And I think a lot of the fans of the book are probably not surprised that it's been stuck in development for this long, because it's got a tricky narrative. It's one of those what we just saw not too long ago with The Long Walk. We're like, there's a certain part of the narrative that's, you're going to bring that to the screen. That's a little bit tricky. And it is, because it's not entirely successful. Now, the director is Edward Berger, who did Conclave, and he also did All Quiet on the Western Front. Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. But he gets in a little over his head a little bit. We'll get to that in a minute. But Colin Farrell is great as this down on his luck gambler who has gone to the coast of China here, a region in China, because you get the feeling right away he's leaving something behind in the States. There's a reason he's here, and already he is needing to pay $350-some thousand in like 4 days to one casino, or he's going to be arrested. So but he knows, of course, that big score at the baccarat tables, that's what he plays, is just around the corner. It just needs that credit, like all gamblers, desperate gamblers say, I'm just going to hit it. So he goes from one casino to another, while a private investigator played by Tilda Swinton,
the Tilda, always amazing,
is on his tail. Yes, always amazing. And it's not that big of a part, but no surprise, she finds a way to make it memorable.
Yes.
Because she knows all about his previous life in the States, and she is here to make sure that he doesn't outrun it this time. But he's got a few days, and he's found a kindred spirit in a casino worker, Dao Ming, who works in one of the casinos and is strangely kind and generous to him with credit at a table, and just his overall feeling about him as a desperate gambler. It's the Festival of the Hungry Ghosts going on there in Macau at the time, which comes into play a little bit because they talk about burnt offerings to the dead, and there's something maybe that Dao Ming has in mind that Lord Doyle doesn't know is coming, even though as the movie goes along, we sort of do. It's as it goes to its third act, it's not hidden where it's going to go, and I don't think you have to read the book to know that. But it's a nice ride, especially with these actors. They do a great job. Then you've got, and have to see her name, who plays Grandma. She is a hoot. There's this woman who's at the tables. There she is, Deanie Ip. And she's this older lady, and they say that her husband is just loaded, and he gives her all the money to gamble while he goes off with the call girls or whatever. And she doesn't care, and she sizes up Lord Doyle like that. And she's not shy about telling him and all the casino people what he's going to do before he does it. And she's a hoot. But it looks amazing. I mean, Edward Berger, the colors just burst, and the glitz, but it's weird that after a while it just becomes desperately showy, because I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that there's a bit of a supernatural that comes into play here as it goes along, and it almost seems like the direction is desperate to blur those lines. Look at this, look at this, look at this, and it just gets to be a distraction after a while. I mean, there are beautiful set pieces, no doubt about it, but then it just becomes so pushy and so showy about it. I think that's to the detriment of the actual story. But it is on Netflix, and there are some good performances here. Seeing these actors interact, even if it's going somewhere that you probably know it's going to go, is fine. It's probably a streamer is the best place for it. But I didn't read the book, but I certainly understand the concerns about having a tricky narrative to blend these, because there's a lot of metaphor. There's a lot of social commentary. Of course, there's some cultural aspects of it too. And so there are moments that really work, and the performances really drive it. But I thought, boy, I think the director, and obviously Edward Berger's a good director, obviously, just went too full bore with every single shot, and it just weighs it down after a while. So I don't think it's as successful as an adaptation as it could have been. Not terrible. And if you have Netflix and like a lot of colors and a gambling story, give it a look. And that's Ballad of a Small Player on Netflix now.
Next in theaters, the latest from acclaimed filmmaker Jafar Panahi. It's the story of a small mishap triggering a chain reaction of ever-growing problems. It was just an accident.
Here's the other great filmmaker that we're excited about.
This guy, amazing.
No wrong.
If you look up the major international film festivals in the world, he is among the most decorated directors of all of them. I mean, this movie just won Palme d'Or at Cannes, but he's been so decorated for all these movies, and some of them have been made in secret. I mean, he was a 10-year, he's Iranian, and he had a 10-year ban on travel and filmmaking from Iran. And he's had to make his last movie, which I just love, No Bears.
Yes.
It was nominated for an Oscar. He made that in secret. And he had to act in it himself, because some actors didn't want to work with him because of the trouble. He's amazing. He's an amazing storyteller, courageous. Look up his entire catalog. Taxi is another one of his. I mean, he just has a way about telling a story. Nothing is, we say this about a lot of directors, but nothing is a throwaway. And especially in this movie, because the title, it was just an accident. Nothing is an accident. Nothing is innocent with a storyteller like this. But it's set in Iran, where this man is driving home late one night with his pregnant wife and young daughter in the back, and he hits and kills a stray dog. And so the next day, he takes his car in to be checked out after this accident, and somebody at the shop thinks they recognize him. He's sure that he is the man who used to be an intelligence officer who tortured both the man at the shop and his compatriots who were political prisoners. And so next thing you know, the guy at the shop kidnaps the man who owns the car and hit the dog, and is going to kill him until doubt creeps into his mind about, is this really the guy? And so he's got to be sure. So he knocks him unconscious, puts him in the back of his van, and drives him around. This all takes place in the course of a day. Drives him around to his old ex-inmates for a positive ID. And things just go off the rails. They react with a mixture of rage and outright rage, and then a little more quiet determination to just kill him and make him pay. And this includes a bride and a groom who are about to get married, and their wedding photographer. They're in on this. So all of a sudden, everybody's life just gets upended because we're going to find out if this is the man. And there have been a lot of movies over the years that have done that, you know, with the kind of death and the maiden set up, like, is this the torturer? So it follows that, which is recognizable, but the way it does it throughout this course of a day, as they get, not only you find Panahi finds an organic way as the characters are talking to let us in on what they experienced as prisoners, but then they go throughout their day and you see these little acts of corruption throughout the entire town as if they're trying to maneuver themselves throughout. And then you have this pregnant wife of the man they've held captive that comes into play. And so just a lot of things. And there are some weird bursts of comedy as well in this movie as it goes throughout. And he builds a nice set of tension, because at the heart of this is a thriller about, is it the man or not?
Yeah, right.
You know, is it? And is he going to pay? So that's part of it. But then the other hand, as he's commenting on, obviously, a lot of his own situation, because he was in prison for his speaking out and making films against the regime. So a lot of this, even though this is a movie that he's not in, it's still very personal. You can tell that as he's commenting on his homeland. And in the end, it talks about vengeance, of course. If they are going to take vengeance on this man, if he really is the man they say he is it justified? And if it is justified, would their souls be healed just, or maybe more, by mercy? And those are some moral complexities that a filmmaker like this can handle. Not everyone can.
Yeah.
He can. And of course, if you've seen his movies, you won't be surprised that he ends on a final shot. He's just a master at this, a final shot that feels like an ending, but yet a beginning. And you just have to sit there and think about it for a few minutes. I'm telling you, this guy is great. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. See everything that you can from him. Jafar Panahi is his name. And the latest film, I fully expect this to be nominated for an International Film Award.
Yes.
It Was Just an Accident is in theaters now. Loved it.
And in theaters, a provocative thriller about a very close-knit family that is torn apart as a new movement, The Change, envelops the country. Anniversary.
McKenna Grace.
We do love McKenna Grace.
One of our favorite interviews ever, in case we haven't said so.
She is a peach.
She is. She's growing up.
Yeah, she is grown up. She plays. This is a pretty star-studded cast, actually. So it's Diane Lane and Kyle Chandler. It's their 25th wedding anniversary, and so their adult kids are coming home. She's a professor at Georgetown. He's a chef, in DC. They're well-to-do. They have a nice place, and their kids are all coming home. They're 4 kids, and their son, who's really the only one who hasn't sort of made much of himself, he's bringing his new girlfriend, and she's played by Madeline Brewer, who was in the what's the really popular British period romance?
Downton Abbey.
The romance one.
Bridgerton.
There you go. She was in Bridgerton. Yeah.
I had 2. There's 2 that I know. It was the second one.
It was the second one. She was in Bridgerton, and she, it turns out, has a little history with the professor, and she and the professor is very upset that her son, who's still sort of finding himself, has been sucked in by this woman. And then later, this turns out to be a very insidious moment, because she has written a book. This young woman, she's written a book, The Change, and it's how to correct everything that's going wrong with our country. And it's actually why she had a problem with her history professor in the first place, because it was Mussolini-esque. It was fascist. And she said, no, you just don't understand. It's the people. There's only one party because it's the people's party. Yeah. And so it is a microcosm. The family itself is what is happening to the entire country. And but then they also broaden out and they show you what's happening to the entire country. And it's an admirable attempt at looking at with the United States today. There are the biggest problem is that the family, the character arcs are so forced and so one-dimensional and so just there to drive the plot forward that sometimes they're almost ludicrous. Zooey Deutsch plays one of the sisters, and what happens to her comes completely out of left field. If it weren't for the fact that they keep telling us what's going to happen, you'd be like, I don't, so there's a great deal of that. It's very heavy-handed. And I wanted to like it more than I did, but it's also vague in what exactly it is that, like, they never dive in any way into the change. It's so left open to the imagination that it's hard to go, well, why is this person okay with it? And why is that person okay with it? So you don't know what's the matter with this, or with this philosophy. So you don't know, and they never tell you what they're siding against. And it feels vague in a way that is more frustrating than open-ended. A lot of people complained about Eddington, for example, because it wasn't specifically right or left. This is specifically left, but they're very vague about what the change is about. And so that feels like a cop-out. So in a lot of ways, it's just, it's a lot of great performances, really. Diane Lane is amazing in it. But there's so much left over-explained and under-explained. It's just not particularly well written. So in the end, I was disappointed with The Anniversary.
And this is director and co-writer Jan or Jan?
Jan Komas.
So yeah, it sounds like there's an idea here, a worthy idea, certainly worthy to boil down what the U.S. is going through to a single family and make it resonate, certainly, but not quite fleshed out enough.
No.
And that is Anniversary. It's in theaters.
And set against the backdrop of the violent Mamali incident in 1985, this psychological thriller is about a visiting handyman and his young daughter who experience mysterious visions in a remote village amid the fatal police raid against fundamentalists. It's Indera.
Boy, that makes this sound a lot more complicated than it really is.
I try.
Yeah. Ming Jin Woo is the director of this movie, and it's it's a ghost story. It's a very, very rural story. This man, his wife died on the side of the road in mysterious circumstances in labor, and now he and his daughter, who doesn't speak, life has treated them poorly, and they don't work, and they're getting kicked out of their hovel where they're living, and they're going to starve to death. And so it's recommended that they go far out into the country, where this old woman, who is the village witch, who lives in the old orphanage, needs a handyman.
What?
But, otherwise they would be living in their car. So I guess you say, you take a job if you're, you know what I mean? It's just like nowadays when somebody's like, that house is haunted. And you say, do you know how hard it is to buy a house today? I have room for ghosts.
Yeah.
So these, this is where they go. This is where they live. And, little by little, it's like, why do these other children live here? And what is going on with that big hole out back? And, why do the villagers dislike you? And I was hoping that it would wind up being something less predictable and more interesting. And it just was neither. It was fine. It was fine and spooky, and the kind of movie that I've seen about 100 times.
Yeah, because it's classified as folk horror, and we love folk horror.
We do love folk horror.
But yeah, when you've seen it that often, just even if you haven't seen it and you're rattling off some buzzwords, orphanage, got it.
Yeah, exactly.
sounds
village witch, handyman. Yeah. No.
Sounds very done. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
And that is on VOD. If you're looking for an outright horror movie this weekend, this would be the one. It's streaming now, called Indera. Okay. Daniel Baldwin, the Schlocketeer, he must be trick-or-treating.
He must be trick-or-treating.
Right now. Hope he gets more than a rock. Hope he gets some, what's your go-to Halloween candy?
You know what it is.
Twix?
I do like a Twix.
I like a Reese cup. I like a Reese cup.
It.
And then you got to put them in the freezer for a while so they're good and cold. Whatever you like, hope you get it. No circus peanuts. Get those things out of here. Or candy corn. Does anybody really like them? Like either of those? Circus peanuts or candy corn? Is that a thing for someone? It must be, because they keep selling them.
Do they still sell circus peanuts?
Yeah, I think they have them at CVS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get them, and then you get this really long receipt for them. Anyway, enjoy your Halloween candy. Looking ahead to next weekend, well, a couple that we've already seen. Well, here's one that we have not seen: Predators, Badlands.
Excited about that one though,
Yeah.
and then Train Dreams.
Saw that one. Look forward to talking about that. One we're going to see probably this weekend: Nuremberg.
Yeah, looking forward to that one too. Christy,
Sydney Sweeney playing boxer Christy Martin. Saw that a few days ago. Ooh, the new Lynn Ramsey, Die
My Love. This is the one I'm most excited about for next week. I cannot wait to watch that.
Just like we were talking about this week with those two directors that we always want to see what they're doing. Lynn Ramsey.
Oh yeah, anything she does.
Always want to see what she's doing. She did. We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yeah.
Devastating
Yeah.
film. Devastating. If you haven't seen it, but it's so good. And she also did.
You Were Never Really Here.
With Joaquin Phoenix, my lord, so good.
And others, of course, yeah.
So that's next week.
Animated film In Your Dreams.
Okay, and then one called Lost and Found in Cleveland.
We
love Cleveland, so
what?
That sounds up our alley. All right, so that's for next week. But until then, what do you think about this week? Oh, you like that? Bugonia, we loved it.
Loved it.
Or it was just an accident. Or Stitchhead for the family. Yeah, we'll talk about those. All those and more. You can find us easily, MaddWolf Columbus on all the socials. Of course, if you really like the scary films, you're welcome to follow our other podcast, Fright Club. And there's a Fright Club podcast group on Facebook, too. So plenty of ways to keep in touch. We hope you will. Have a great Thanksgiving. Look at me jumping right into the next one. I might as well be Target, putting up my Christmas decorations already. No, have a great Halloween.
That's right.
And we'll talk to you soon. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Screening Room Podcast.
See ya.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.